力が多ければ多い。
There we go. Got everyone level 90 now, except for my two in the naughty corner. My Bennett, just to prove a point to everybody else, and Amber, because I just do not like her. She's just so ridiculously weak. Actually, maybe I should just level Amber just so bad. Because I think the fact that there is another person in the naughty corner with Bennett detracts from how much I dislike Bennett. And while I dislike her power, I don't really dislike her as a character. So let's level her up. And I'll build her just for memes. Let's follow her too. Okay, there we go. So Amber's graduating from the naughty corner. Although I'm going to be getting Clarin, so I'll be focusing on leveling her. So I actually ran out of leveling materials, which has been. Oh, I have a fuckload of blue ones. Okay, never mind. I thought I was like getting low. It seems like not that low. I was running out of purples, but not. Fuck it. Let's just give her this. I actually don't have. I could give her. I could give her that actually. Ooh, this one looks. This looks kind of on point with her. Should I do this one? It kind of matches her color scheme, not perfectly. The rust actually matches it much better, kinda, because it has the browns. Actually, even that's not really perfect. I could actually give her this, which would make her much better. It's a really good weapon. I guess I will. Because obviously there's also this one, which would be pretty cool. Kind of matches her color slightly. Has the gold, some orangey stuff. Mostly she's red though, so. But this doesn't really match her color scheme either, because it's too pink and she's too red. But okay, let's just give her this. No one else is using it. No one else could. Actually, do I have anyone who could use it better than her? I guess Tignari. But like that's the whole thing. This looks really good on Tignari. The Viridescent bow. I don't want to. Why the fuck is it giving her the Wanderer's Truth? Is it for the? Is it for the charge attack damage? But she's not really a charge attack damage dealer. Yeah. Well, let's see. Is that crit? Oh, crit damage. I don't need crit damage. I needed a crit rate. Actually, shit. Wait. How do I have 25% crit rate? from that. A little bit from that. Oh, I see it's from this. I'm actually surprised, yeah, because like if I swap this to a crit rate thing, I guess I have a 1-to-2 crit ratio. Oh, cool! I did actually get a crit rate roll. Nice. Okay, so that's a decent enough set. I guess I'm going full. I mean, this is increasing our charge attack too, so I guess whatever. I now have a okay, decently built amber, perhaps. Could I replace this? I could actually literally replace this thing. Do I have any attack percent that has... Jesus Christ, these stats are shit. Okay, so I lose 6% crit rate, but I don't really need it that much. Obviously, this would be worse, but it has crit damage, and a decent amount of it, too. Well, I mean, like, one roll into it. Ooh, this... I mean, it sucks that it's plus 12, and it didn't roll into either one of the two things I care about. Or should I do this? But this kind of sucks. I mean, it has energy recharge, which is 5. I don't think she needs energy that much. Okay, let's just go this. Crit rate went a little low, but she has a crit rate hat that's not fully leveled, so that will get her up to 50% at least. So, let's see. 12. Okay, so obviously if I get super lucky, I could get some crit rate, crit damage rolls on all these things too.
貫く。はっ。痛がっちゃいない。どの目が出るかしら。ほっ。やったはっ。せい。
星と深淵。無事今日の依頼を達成しましたね。星と深淵。この同点も。同点につ。
来たか。ふん。その感じからしてどうやら。
うん。ジュライセン先生の家まで行ってみたけど留守だった。セノも最初は家に行ってみたいだけどもう離れた後だったよ。
どこへ向かったかは。
手紙を残してくれて。
想定内といったところか。
セノのやつ。こっちの状況も話そう。さっき記憶を頼りにもう一度例の紋章を書いてみた。今度は
古書との比較もしてみた。本に描かれている紋章は不明瞭だが、その形と構成要素は酷似している。
ああ、それとこの紋章の伝承は。
それからアーラブがウラカ、ジュライセンが砂漠で巨額の資金を入手したという情報は。
ああ、ウラカは彼の話。
なるほど。
で、ウラカが言ってたその少年は。
知らないってさ。
ナフィスとアーラブはシティを出入りした人間の確認をしに30人団のところへ行っている。 それと、現在教令院にある沈黙の殿は名ばかりのものだとナフィスが認めた。本物の沈黙の殿はかつてウリンを訪れた時に教令院と協力関係を結んだ。だが時代の変化とともにそのような教令院は信用に値しない。そう判断した当時の沈黙の殿は、その組織は誕生以来キングレシェレト文明と人々を正しい道へと導くのが彼らの
協力関係の断絶は教令院の名に傷をつける。
こんなことが何百年も続いてたなんて。
その何百年も前に
詳細についてはおそらく
ウラカを利用してジュライセンをジ
ジュライセン先生は
沈黙の殿が砂漠に由来している以上、
先生を探さないと。
砂漠に行くつもりか？
水を十分用意す。
みんな、30人団から返事が届いたぞ。
先生。
この人がティナリの先生。
ああ、こんにちは。会えて嬉しいよ。別々の目撃者から情報提供があった。30人団と教令員は過去に口に出すのもはばかられるほどのことを少なからずやってきた。仕方理解してくれとは言わない。しかし
先生、焦る気持ちはわかるけど、この一件は僕たちが思っている。
確かにそうだな。みんな
助けは必要か？オイラたちも。
本当か？これから私はティナリは砂漠に向かう。
カーベ、砂漠。
そこまで言うのなら。
では皆の者、頼んだぞ。アーラブ、行こう。
できるだけ早めに行動を開始した方がいい。
ティナリ、早速出発しよ
セノのスピードなら。
私も本を借りてみようかな。キャラバン宿駅に着いたな。でも、近くの。
ちょっと待って。あそ。
あの後ろ姿って。
一人で砂漠に入るつもりか？
Man, they are so hot.
ってわけじゃないが。
初めてのことじゃない。
セノ。
ここまで行っても行くというのなら、少なくとも私たちの。
ああ、
やっぱりキャラバン宿駅にいたんだね。ジュライセン先生を追いかけてきたんだろ？
ついてこなくていいと言ったはずだが、
オイラたちがうなずいた覚えはないぞ。
深い意味はない。ただ、
へえ、あのセノが直々にキャラバン宿駅まで追いかけるってことは、それにしてもさっきのはさすがに冷たいんじゃないか？おっと、挨拶がまだだったな。
リシア、キャンディス。
あんたらも元気そうで何よりだ。私とキャンディスは用事があって、キャラバン宿駅の人たちの話によると、セノが探してるじいさん、何か事情がある。
セノさん、もし話せないことがあるならどんなことでも構いません。
いや、そう簡単。
ザハハディ教授からも聞いたよ。どうやら先生が。
なるほど。
とにかくキャラバン宿駅から出発したなら
感謝する。問題が解決したら。
おいおい、他人行儀が
あ
さて、
いや、あとはこちらで何とかする。
そうか。じゃあ行ってこい。助けが。
どうか遠慮なさらずに。
安心し。
旅人とティナリがセノに追いついてよかったぜ。じゃなきゃ。
砂漠では知恵と胆力が問われる一方、人とのつながりも試されます。安心してください。仲間がいればセノさんも無事でいられるでしょう。
I don't know. I think it should have been "but take heart," comma instead of "but take heart," period. But whatever.
ちょっと待って。話しておきたいことがあるんだ。
なんだ。
君がキャンプ地から
ああ。やはり沈黙の殿にはいろいろ問題があるんだな。教霊院にあるあの組織が偽物だということは俺も多少感づいていた。
君は沈黙の殿と何か因縁があるんだ。
そうだ。俺の身に宿ってる力がヘルマヌビスに由来するのはみんなも知っているだろう。沈黙の殿はそいつが設立したものだ。
No, even has Anubis in the name.
俺の体質は特殊でな。子供の頃から思い返してみると、あの頃の記憶はどれもぼんやりしている。手紙の紋章についてたが、あの紋章に覚えがないのは見たことがないからなのか、記憶がぼんやりとしているからなのかは断言できない。
うん。
ジュライセンはあの紋章の正体が分かってたん。
ああ。
ところで僕と旅人に追いつかれ。
ああ、分かっているさ。もう受け入れてる。いや、今さら。
その通りだぞ。おい。
ああ。うん、それでいい。さあ、行こっか。ここの衛兵に
今いいか。
これは
人を探しているんだ。
その人ならつい最近 R 村を通ったばかりだ。ここで水と食料の補充を。
どこへ向かった？
確か村の入り口にしばらく座って水を届けた者と雑談してたらしいんだが、地図はあるか？彼が向かった方。
地図なら僕が。
ああ。
礼を言う。助かった。
よく覚えて。
人探しうま。
こんな日は木陰にいる方がいい。
待て、あそこに誰かいる。
何か知ってるかもな。
ああ、ここは俺が。
僕に任せて。
なんでわざわざティナリが？
俺の羊や服装、風貌は。
こんにちは。邪魔してすまないね。友達。
へえ。
Ah, it's Sethos.
いいよいいよ。何が聞きたい？
I didn't know they were going to introduce him already.
こんな感じの人なんだけど。
ローブを着ていて目つきが鋭い。それでいて気品の。
なかなか特徴的な
うん。そんな人物。
僕の後ろを見てる。
なあ、
そこの人、なかなか。よ、噂の大マハマトラ。セノで合ってるかな？ああ。他人に素性がバレたのに。何もこういう状況は。君が人を探してるんだろ？
この人。
Yeah, like he's the head of the police force. Yeah, it's not surprising to recognize him based on that alone. With such a distinctive like appearance as well. You can easily describe him, and even people who have never seen him would be able to recognize him based on his appearance.
あれ？僕のことをもう警戒してる。隠す必要はないよ。君たちが疑ってることくらい分かってるさ。でも、先に。
普通のキャラバン。
お前の部下。聞いた？君、
モラさえ払ってくれれば俺は構わないぞ。
たく、探り合いはやめようぜ。聞いててじれったい。
君たち、ついてきてくれ。人を探してる。ローブ、白髪、気品がある。ジュライセン先生、僕についてくれば。ここだよ。
ここだよ。って、従来線どころか何も。
ちょっと下がって。
うわ！なんか出て。
こんな規模の建物が、こんなところ。
しかも隠されているとは。
I'm curious if he didn't do that, would we have like if we walked forward, would we have smacked into it? Like, was it still there but just invisible, or did it like corporalize? Like, was it like not there, literally not there? We would have walked through it, and now that it's there, we can actually interact with it.
まさか。焦らないで。まだおしゃべりの時間じゃないよ。
砂漠にこんな場所が。しかもオアシスのすぐ隣。おいら、ちょっとこっち来線はきっとこいつに捕まったのかも。
どうしたの？先生のことを考えてるのかな？後悔するような真似をしでかしていない子。そいつは奇遇だね。
That's actually pretty cool. Like, I mean, I guess technically a lot of character quests do involve going into a dungeon, which means they would have had to design a dungeon for each one. But like, this is pretty cool looking. They just have for a random character quest. Hello there. How's it going? Yeah, I'm doing fine. Getting ready for the nice weekend.
オイラたちを置いて行っちゃったぞ。
彼らがオアシスにいたのは偶然じゃない。あれは明らかに僕たちを待っていた。
ここが沈黙の点。ウリンを離れた後。
I'm from the States.
こんな場所に隠れていたのか。
おい見ろよ。さっきの。
焦らないで。
お前の名前は？
おっと、ごめんごめん。君たちに会えたのが嬉しすぎて。
Oh wow, that's a ways away. This must be like the middle of the night for you. I mean, if you meant when I started streaming in general, I think that was about like 10 months ago. Miyahako did this promotional thing where if you streamed Genshin during one of the Fontaine patches, you could get some free in-game currency. So I was like, yeah, sure. Because I already play the game anyway, and it's ridiculously easy to stream from the PS5. I just press the share button, and then there's a broadcast thing. So, yeah. So essentially, when that promotion happened, anytime I would play Genshin, I would stream. And then I realized, yeah, I might as well actually just stream, everything I do. You can ask me, but I will first preface this with, I'm not interested in any art services or promotional services. I'm not really interested in growing my stream at all, so sure, go ahead, ask away.
僕はセトス。このままここにしばらく残るけど、君たちの質問、
自由行動が許す。
そうだよ。なぜなら、地雷戦。
こいつの言う通りだ。まさか本物。
これって
奴らには
セタス、オイラたちと。
ああ、でも本当は僕に聞きたいことがあるんだろう。よくってわけじゃないよ。普通の人間ならまずここに入れない。沈黙の殿とは孤独で静かな場所だからね。うん、その通りだ。でもその言い方はちょっと違う。なんでもいい。モラさえ手に入れば違法な手段でも構わないってね。
けどそれって根も葉もない。
それはどうだろうか。思い出してみてよ。地雷戦の秘密を知ってると書いてはもちろん。ウラカって本当にいい助っ人だったよ。酔っ払ってる時は素直で。
なんで地雷戦は手紙を。
それについては地雷戦に聞いてみなよ。僕が代わりに地雷戦は僕たちの紋章を知っていて、自分から来たってことだけ分かってればいい。ないよ。
本当か。
教令院に行く必要はないからね。ウラカみたいな人なら酒場にゴロゴロいる。 スメールシティの入り口はいつでも開かれてるし、入りたければ誰でも入れる。シティには世間話をなんだその質問。
でもさっきオアシスで
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's an incredibly famous person. He's the head of the police force. It's like, yeah, most people would know of him at the very least, especially if you live in that location. And, you know, it was such a distinct appearance, you'd think lots of people would be able to recognize him, even if they've never met him. That's why it was kind of surprising that he was expecting him to be surprised when he recognized him. It's like, well, yeah, no shit. Like, I'm a famous person, dude.
まあ、僕はウリに住んでるわけじゃないからね。お互い会って間もないんだ。こんなすぐ答えを洗いざらい教えてしまったら。そう。お、来た。
Wait, wasn't that the direction we came from? Oh, I guess not. Okay, so yeah, it's confusing because the center pillar looks identical from each angle. So it's hard to know which entrance you're going into just from that.
じいちゃん、会いたがってた人はここだよ。
Shit, I missed my screenshot, damn it.
ご苦労だったな、セトス。皆さんにお会いできて光栄だ。わしは沈黙の伝。
先生。
手荒な真似はよ。おっと、これはすまなかった。お主に不快な思いをさせるのは、ジュライセンはわしに命の借りがあり、沈黙の伝に対してもいくつか借りを。
君たちが来る前に帰れ、セノ。老いぼれ同士のことだ。君たち。
事件を隠そうとしたのは最初からここに来るつもりだったからで。
人は生きてる限りどうにもならない時が来る。
セノと一緒に先生を助けに来たのは僕たちの意志だよ。それに
秘密が秘密である理由は口
おじけづいたのか。手塩にかけて我々の紋章を知っているのは、以前お主は脅迫状を見た瞬間、浦賀の背後にいるのがわしらだと気づいた。脅迫された理由は己が過去にしでかした過ちだとも分かっていたんだろう。ジュライセン、裏切り者よ。かつてお主はヘルマンヌビス様の意向をお主は我々に背を向けた。ヘルマンヌビス様の力とその昔、わしがこう言ったのを覚えているはずだ。
Oh, I see. So essentially, he raised Cyno, I guess, here. Yeah, and I guess somehow was able to extract the might of Anubis into Cyno. That's why he has this power, because they did something. And the Cyno is the only. So I guess there's only one person, perhaps, per. One person can only hold it, like, or host it for a while. So I guess when he left and the kid left with Cyno, essentially they didn't have any more because Cyno was out and about. I mean, I don't know. Like, sharing his learning, it's like, yeah, but like, why can't he leave then? Like, it seems very cultish. It's like, oh, well, yeah, but you can't leave. And I guess maybe it's one of those things where it's like, oh, well, the terms of service for this were you can't ever leave. But I think that's also illegal, so you can't really uphold illegal terms of service. If he wants to leave, he should be able to leave. But we'll see. Like, stealing the might of Hermanubis, like, I don't know, did he do that before he even met Cyno? Is that something like it's in, like, there's an object or something that hosts the power and he took it and then instilled it into Cyno later? Is that what happened? If that's the case, then I guess, sure. Like, that's kind of bad. Like, he did steal, at that point he did steal something, right? It'd be another thing if he had instilled Cyno with that power while he was here, and then when he left, he took Cyno with him. I would say, nah, like, at that point, you know, Cyno is his own person, even if, you know, he was still young. If his father figure takes him away, as long as, you know, Cyno is fine with it and there's no actual problems, I wouldn't consider that stealing the might of Hermanubis. But we'll see. We'll see what the time frame is, because, like, obviously Cyno's relatively young, And if this guy left like 30 years ago, he might have stolen an actual object that held the power, and then he, after the fact, instilled it in Cyno. In which case, I would still say, okay, well, yeah, leaving is fine. I still think you should be able to leave, but stealing something that is theirs is not. That's kind of a dick move. But we shall see.
ヘルマヌビスの力と
もしかして
先生。
バムーンの言う通りじゃ。もう何年も前のことだ。砂漠で遭難しかけたところをこやつに助けてもらった。あれは秘密に包まれた偉大なる計画だった。沈黙の殿がヘルマヌビスのゆえにバムーンは罰霊、つまりヘルマヌビスのかけらを適合者の体内に埋め込むことを提案した。沈黙の殿には死亡者が多数おったが、聖人の体ではその強大な力に、そして適合者はもう一人おった。その両親は財と引き換えに子供を渡すことを承諾。
長年にわたり沈黙の殿はヘルマヌビス様の罰霊の法人を敷いた部屋に被験者を入れ、増幅させた罰霊の近くに一定時間とどまらせる。当初の計画通り実験は3つの段階。ただその時わしはどうすべきか考えた。2人の実験を順次行い、結果にそう考えていると2つの罰霊から見たことのない光が放たれた。罰霊と共鳴を起こせるだけで極めて珍しい添付。信仰と力を絶やさぬためにも。
だが結局わしが実験を。
あの時はこれまでの協力に免じて追っ手を出さなかった。お主が来るのを待ち望んでいた。セノよ。
Okay, well, okay, so he left with the child then. I'd say then he's totally fine. Sure, he betrayed you, whatever, but, like, you guys were kind of being dicks, right? Like, you should be able to leave. Forcing them to stay is, I would say, is illegal. Obviously, this is another country, another world, so legality is kind of iffy, but it's morally wrong, I would say. And should be, and usually the laws reflect morality, so if it's morally wrong, it's probably also illegal. But then also human experimentation is usually widely recognized as illegal or immoral as well. So him taking a child away from these crazy people, I would say, is a good thing. But obviously from their perspective, it's like, well, no, these are our fragments, our experiment, our blah, 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 blah. You stole, you betrayed, blah, blah. Okay, I'd say Cirrus is in the right. I don't know, at that point I would say, I would have just not come as Cirrus. I would have just not come. I would be like, fuck you guys. Like, I didn't steal shit. Fuck off. You guys are assholes.
君から罰霊を十数年借りていただけじゃ。それでいいじゃろう。わしももう年だ。老いぼれの命が欲しければいくらでも差し出そう。じゃがセノにだけは手を出すな。こやつは今の大マハマトラじゃ。考えなしに行動すればそれは教令員に対する宣戦。
親愛なるセノよ。お主はもう覚えていないよ。お主とこやつセトスは
この力を取り戻したい。
ヘルマヌビス様の信者としてその力がウリンをさまようのをずっと野放しにしてきた。だが今こそ
天意に選ばれし者にその所有物を返せという。
いや、確かにセノは選ばれし者だが、
それが先生を解放する条件か。
この卑劣な行為はわしだけが背負うものだ。沈黙の伝統は関係ない。わしの愚行により。
察するにお前らに残された罰霊の力だけでは限界があるということか。俺が持つもう一つの罰霊を取り戻しセトスの体に埋め込むんだな。
神の力には苦痛が伴う。セトス
は成長した。それに
Well, it's also weird too, because you're no longer a small child. But like, didn't your previous experiments prove that you can't install it into adults? So like, I mean, it's slightly different, obviously, because he's had this one fragment in him since childhood. So maybe he's adapted to the point where he could take another. It's hard to say, But like, it's hard for me to say, but it's also hard for them to say because they've never successfully implanted this into anybody. These are literally the two only successes they've had, and they can provably say, yeah, even just one would drive people mad or kill them or whatever the hell the previous failed experiments, whatever happened for them. It's like you can know what happens when it's not attuned, but this is new territory. You don't even know if this would work. And you're already kind of like, oh shit, like, they're resonating. If we don't install them, they'll be disintegrated. Like, okay, but what proof do you have they wouldn't disintegrate the second you tried to extract it from one of the vessels, right? Like, you knew that they would disintegrate if you didn't implant them. But then, like, couldn't that also mean that it's bonded to their vessel and they can't be extracted? Like, you have no basis for a successful extraction and implantation of an already implanted fragment. Like, so it's dumb. Like, I don't understand how these quote unquote scientists can be like, yeah, sure, this will definitely work. It's like, you've never been successful ever. These two children are the only success you've ever had, and now you want to gamble with that, right? And like, no, like, you should let them live to the end of their days. And then wait until like the fragments can be reimplanted. Like, I don't know, if they die, if they pop out and they're still good, then you're like, cool. Implantation it as children. This is the process that works. Let's work on the next set of children. And then maybe, fiddle around with it. But like, experimenting on your only successes are where you don't have any other fragments, you have no replacements, like, is dumb. It's dumb. I don't see how they could have anything that would back up that hypothesis. Now, maybe they've experimented on Sethos. Maybe they've been able to extract Sethos' fragment temporarily and reinstall it into him. Maybe they've done that. Maybe they've proven that it's maybe they've done those type of things. But like, these are the kind of questions that like should be answered in theory. Obviously, it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't matter. This is what they're trying to do. It doesn't matter how stupid what they're trying to do is, considering their past failures and their lack of evidence that it would even work. They're just doing this for the dramatic effect. So it's like, yeah, whatever. I get it. But there have been definitely instances like this in this game. Not even just this game. Lots of games. Lots of games would be like, oh, okay, well, here's the plot. And then they're like, okay, well, this is the plot. So now we have to change the world to make this plot make sense, right? Now we have to have characters act out of character. We have to have the people with the universe act out of character just to further the plot. Or you'll see people do stupid things just so the bad guy wins or gets away, right? Like, there was Arc-Rise Fantasia, which did it very well in how bad it did it. Like, how stupid it was. So, like, your party goes up to the top of this tower. And there's only one way up to the top. A spiraling staircase on the outside of the tower, spiraling up. And then we get up to the top of the tower. And there's the bad guy, a group of bad people, right? And we have a boss fight. And we win, because we're the good guys. And there we are, all of us, standing at the top of the staircase. The only staircase to get off this tower, right? All of us standing in front of it. And the bad guys are in front of us. See, further away from the staircase than we are, because we just came up the staircase and fought them. And they are further away, doing whatever the fuck they were doing. And the bad guys move to escape. And you know what your characters do in-game? Your characters, in the game, get out of the fucking way so the bad guys can run away. Your in-game character models move out of the way so the bad guys can run past you and down the only staircase off the top of the tower. Like, that is so mind-bogglingly stupid, right? Now, you could, so this is just what they showed, so obviously it could have been something more involved, like if they had better, this is like an old game too, so it's like, if they had better models, it could have bthey shoved past us, right? They charged past us and pushed us out of the way and ran away. But they don't say anything like that. No one says, ow, and falls to the ground or anything like that. They just proactively move out of the way. Like, your character models move out of the way. Bad guys haven't even moved at all at this point. Bad guys are standing there. Your characters move out of the way. Then the bad guys run down the now clear path to get off the top of the tower. Right? Like, that's what's so dumb about this. You know, it's shit like that, where it's like, okay, this is what has to happen. The bad guys have to escape because they have to continue their bad guy plot. And we've beaten them. So they shouldn't be able to escape. And there's no path for them to escape. So we're just going to do something incredibly stupid so that the plot can progress. Lots of times this happens. Good guy does something dumb, doesn't understand something, doesn't ask the correct questions. So he, based on a lack of knowledge, like something comes up and like rather than ask some obvious questions that anyone presumably would come up with, or do any sort of logical thing, they're like, no, I'm going to do something illogical. I'm not going to answer something. I'm going to run away. I'm going to do something stupid, right? And even if the character is touted as a smart person, like it's one thing if it's those like dense male protagonists, where it's like, oh, okay, well, dense male protagonist is going to be dense, so don't expect him to be, witty and shit. But like, so when they do something stupid, you're like, well, like their character is kind of dumb and silly, so it's understandable why they could do something like that. But there are other stories, other games, other whatevers, where they're not supposed to be stupid. They're supposed to be relatively smart, but they still do incredibly stupid things so that the plot can progress along a certain path, which I think is lazy writing, right? Like, you should just write a better story that has a better, more compelling reason why the character would do this thing that would allow the plot to progress, or, have the plot progress in a way where the main character can't be stupid and let it happen, Like, even like My Hero Academia, I remember it's another one of these dumb things where they're just like, well, we want this to happen, so it's going to happen, even though it makes no sense whatsoever. Where I think it was the Himiko, or I forget, the girl who drinks blood and is able to like copy powers and shit. But like in this one big epic fight showdown, she absorbs this person's power and then is able to beat a huge group of enemies, right? Using that person's power, and like maybe even kill them, I'm not sure, or whatever. It's beside the point, because the point is, her power doesn't make sense, right? Like, all of the students, every single one of them is there, and she uses this power like very well and very like instantly. I mean, it's like makes no sense because like every student at the academy has been spending like years upon years training their abilities. So it's not something that it's not like using the abilities comes naturally to any of them. Like, no, they're training, they're becoming better and stronger. And this girl shows up and just does it at the exact level that these people can do it, which is like, well, that's not going to be kept in your blood. Like, it's one thing, like she does like someone's, or is she a shapeshifter, or she stole someone's shapeshifting powers? Maybe she is just a shapeshifter naturally or whatever. Or it's part of her copy power or something, but like, it's one thing if it's like, oh, she gets the ability and then she slowly learns how to use it. But like, no, she's it's instant. She got that power and then instantly used it to kill them all, or beat them all at least. So it's just like, it makes no fucking sense that you can use their ability when like the entire story is them going to a fucking school to learn how to use their abilities, and she's just as able to do it. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? It's just one of those suspension of disbelief type bullshit, because the bad guys needed to win, so she needed to, so this just had to happen so that the plot could progress. And I just don't like that, right? It doesn't make sense. It's inconsistent with the rules that the world has set out. I just don't like those kind of things. Like, it's a sign of bad writing, where they're just like, yeah, they couldn't think of an actual good explanation for it, so they didn't bother. They're just like, nope, sorry, this dumb thing happened. Why? It happens.
必要なものは全てヘルマンヌビス様が与えてくださる。もしかすると今日こそ。
So it's the same thing for this. Like, Cirrus didn't need to come back at all. Like, because it's one thing if he was like, oh, he stole some actual money, like real money, and he like stole a ton of stuff from them. But it's like, no, they don't have anything to threaten him with, unless they want to say, oh, you were part of this secret society. But it's just like, great, good job proving that. Like, it doesn't affect the dudes at all. So the fact that he came here to resolve things was stupid. But then again, we also don't know much about CRS, so maybe he is stupid.
狩猟を寝室まで送って
You
やって
know?
くれ。
瀬戸さん。
じいちゃん、言いたいことは回りくどいのは好まないし、当時実験が地雷戦に中断されてなければ計画はうまく、でももう昔のことだし、今更掘り返したところで意味はない。
Well, it's not even a what if, right? Oh, like, if he hadn't done this, it would have been a success. Really? Based on what? You have literally no proof for that. You only have a long list of failures where you weren't able to do this. What makes you possibly think? Well, what rationale do you have to think, oh, you know, if only we were both here, that would have been a success? Like, it's based on literally nothing. You know, it's what ifs. Like, yeah, it is a what if. It's a huge. I mean, first of all, it's a logical fallacy. It is a known logical fallacy where you assume a past event being different, and then presuming a specific result, right? Where you're like, oh, if this didn't happen, then so like if A didn't happen, B would definitely have happened, right? Like, oh, this thing happened at A, and it led to result C, but I'm saying that if A didn't happen, then B would have happened. It's like, no, C still could have happened, right? You have no basis. Like, you can't change the past and then, make an assumption about what specific result that would have, right? Like, it doesn't, like, there obviously are some things where it's like, oh, well, if I didn't react to this chemical with this chemical and instead with this chemical, it would lead to this result. So yeah, sure, like, there's a formula, there's a basis for that. But usually it's used by stupid people who are like, man, if I didn't run that red light, I wouldn't have been, in that accident. And it's like, yeah, some things could make sense, right? Like, oh yeah, if you didn't run that red light, you probably wouldn't have been hit, sure, but like you still could have, right? Like, it's a lot less likely, but like you can't know essentially the future because you're like, oh well, if this didn't happen, it's like, yeah, but you don't know all the other variables around the past to reliably say, yes, if this one thing was different, then it would have led to this result. It's like, no, like, this could have equally been, even if Cyno there, they still might not have been able to figure out shit. Right? Like, they have no, like, I don't know, maybe they have documentation that shows people, like in the past, when this civilization was more, was still around, people being implanted with those fragments and it working, and maybe that's the basis of their stuff. And maybe they did find a record saying, oh, actually, you need 2 or more of these fragments to get all the secret powers. 1 is not enough, and they didn't see that when they first did the experiment. So maybe, but like, again, it's just not explained, right? He obviously he starts his thing with a logical fallacy, which is not really a great idea.
お前らの計画にはお前とバブーンが欲しているものは他でもない罰例だ。先生はいろいろ言ってはいるが結局は
どうやらよく考え、
俺は先生を見捨てるつもりもなければいずれ直面するも。
ああ、いいよ。おっと、そうだ、じいちゃんが地雷戦と
彼と交渉するなんて。
しばらく考えさせてくれ。
お前もあんま。
Well, shit. I guess I wasted too much time ranting. I wasn't able to finish spent too much time ranting and wasn't able to finish the quest. I mean, I finished one part of the quest, but there's still, I guess, a third and final part. I mean, overall, it's interesting. Like, I don't dislike the story. Me bringing up these logical fallacies and inconsistencies is not me trying to say that I don't like this. This is bad and, unenjoyable or wrong. I'm just, pointing out that this is a logical fallacy. Like, he's making these crazy assumptions based on no evidence that we know of. Like, obviously, this is a society, and they have been researching these fragments for, fucking ever. So maybe there is a maybe there is a rationale behind their decision. You know, maybe there is a reason behind it. And maybe they do have a reason, but like, and I do understand, like, if people were asking the right questions of what basis do you have that this will be a success, you know, they could go into detail. Like maybe they do actually have the detail. Maybe they do have, you know, they found more records of it being successful in the past in the Deshwa civilization, and maybe it's not based on complete nothingness. But you know, do they need to explain that? Like, not really. Like, just knowing that it would be successful is good. And I would say to make the writing better, what they should do is like, you know, if any of them could have asked like, you know, why do you think this would succeed? Like, what basis do you have that this implementation would be successful? If they said we've done further research and found, you know, unearthed even more research notes from from the procedure since you've left, and we've perfected it. Oh, that's a one-liner. It's a one-liner and you're done, and it explains it. It's like, oh, okay, cool. So it's not based on nothing. They did find something. They did more research. They did, you know, whatever, right? That's it. Typically, all these things can usually be resolved in like one-liners, and because like people don't actually need to see like the actual research notes. They don't need to have us go like wander around and actually interact with the objects where they actually go over every single, you know, research. No. As long as we understand that there is a rationale behind this, there is something that explains why they think it would be successful. You know, we don't need to know what it is, but just the fact that it exists according to them, and then we can trust them for the most part. Yeah, sure, they might be wrong or they might be lying to us, but like, we shouldn't assume that. Like, the reason why it's just annoying is that there is no explanation. There are some logical fallacies in what he said. So it would be nice if they just cleared up these little potholes with a one-liner or two and be like, hey, by the way, like, this doesn't really make sense. Why do you think you would be successful when these two are literally the only success you've ever had? Like, what makes you think you can do anything with them when you failed far more times than you ever succeeded? So, you know, so whatever. Like it's like, it's not, it doesn't distract from the story. I think the story is interesting. I think it's an interesting idea. I think this environment is cool. A nice little thing. It's interesting that they introduced Sethos here. I'm curious if he's going to be part of the plot in the next patch at all, or if this is just it. Like, this is just the introduction of him, and maybe next patch will get him as a 4-star, and that'll be it. Actually, maybe they'll give him a hangout event too. Actually, they probably will give him a hangout event at some point that might go further into detail for the whole story. But even still, like, regardless of if they go into more backstory within his hangout event, which I doubt they will, I think they'll probably be more around his like life and fucking about in the world. But they should still explain explain it a little better. They don't need to go into super detail, but just knowing that the explanation exists is all we really need to know. So, well, I would like that. Although it doesn't obviously distract from the main story, or the story for this quest. But anyway, I'm going to head and logging out. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all next time.